Show. My name is Chris. I'm your host, and you are listening to this week's episode of Storytime Friday.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Storytime Friday. If you're new to this podcast, my name is Chris. I'm your host. And basically on this show, what we do is we have Real Talk Tuesday every Tuesday, and we have Storytime Friday every Friday. And basically what I do for the stories is as a writer and storyteller is I either write or I either write a story or I do what I call freestyle stories, where I basically just throw on a headset, hit record, and try to come up with a story. So lately, I've been doing freestyle stories mainly because of my my hours, my schedule and whatnot. I do have stories written, and I have received a couple um, through the podcast email address. Anybody who's if you're a creative writer, you have stories written or whatever, and you like them featured on the show, feel free to send them to me. blogitshowpodcast@gmail.com. And as long as they're not inappropriate stories, I would totally be open to reading them live for the show. But not gonna do too much of a ramble before the story. So just gonna do the usual. You can find us on social media on Insta at Blogger Show Podcast. Personals for me are for Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You can find me at TNTruckerChris. On the X platform, CEAZ Freedom. You can find me on YouTube at Christopher Blodgett, and you can find the blog at tntruckerchris.wordpress.com. And if anybody wants to donate and support the show, every donation would be appreciated. It would all go to everything that comes in would basically go towards any expenses for the show and whatnot, like hosting. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually I like my current host that I switched to because I love the donation link. It's not just like a subscription link. It's actually like it literally says donations. So that way, because I don't have special content yet or anything like that, but I'm all about if there's a platform that can help me grow the show without me having to already have like 500 downloads a week or whatever. Not quite there, I do have some big weeks, then I have weeks where I might have like 50 to 100 downloads, so it's like I'm not quite there to have advertising on the current platform that I switched to for the price that I'm paying for them and stuff. I'm open to the idea of switching to a different platform, especially if they can help. But, I'm always trying to make things better. I always say, guys, always moving forward and stuff. So anybody who wants to help in any way financially, definitely feel free to donate. blogitshow.com/support. But on that note, let's go ahead and jump into it. Once again, welcome to Storytime Friday. This week's story is called Scaring the Kids with Campfire Stories. Michael and Maggie had been married for quite a few years. In the almost 20 years that they'd been together, it had been a while since they actually had gone out and actually gone on a family trip. They had had a lot of stressful occasions, a lot of stressful incidents in their life that the two of them really had to work hard to try to get past. They each had done a lot of growing a lot of personal growth, and had worked together to try to achieve the things that they wanted to achieve, as well as continuing to be able to grow together. After they had been married for about 5 or 6 years, that's when they started to have kids. So they had their first kid, Lexi, and then a couple years later, they had their youngest, Riley. Lexi and Riley are now both teenagers, and coming home from school one day, they immediately noticed that their dad, Michael, was sitting in the kitchen looking at what looked like a magazine. "Hey, Dad, what are you doing?" Lexi said, as she and her sister came in and closed the door. "Hey, sweetie, I'm just checking out. Hey, come over here real quick. I want to show you something." Okay. "What is it, Daddy?" Riley said. "Just come over here. I'm gonna show you guys. I want to show you guys something." "Hey, come on, let's go, Dad. Let's go see what Dad's talking about," Riley said. Or Lexi said to Riley. They came over to Michael and sat down next to him at the table, and Michael slid the brochure that he was looking at over towards him. Riley leaned over and looked at it. "What is that, Daddy?" "Yeah, what is that, Dad?" Lexi said. Well, I was thinking, we haven't really gone on any like a family little like vacation in a while. I know we went a few years back. We had like when we rented that motorhome or whatever. You guys remember that? Yeah, I remember that, Riley said. Well, girls, what I was thinking is, I know it's been a while and I kind of miss it, Like your mom and I, we get really busy or whatever, and like I know you guys were a little bit younger when we went, so I was thinking we should do another trip. "You mean like a camping trip, Daddy?" Riley said. "Yeah, that's right, baby girl. And maybe we could even rent a motorhome again like we did last time." "I mean, that was actually really fun," Lexi said. "Wasn't it though, girls?" "Hey, what are y'all talking about?" Maggie said as she walked in the kitchen. "Daddy's talking about going on a trip," Riley said, looking over at her mom. "Oh, really?" Maggie said, walking over and putting her hand on Michael's shoulder. "Is that so? What are you thinking, babe?" "Oh, Michael said, looking back at his wife. I was just thinking that it's been a while since we took that last trip. I was kind of thinking it was kind of fun. It'd be nice to do that again." "Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Maggie said. What are you thinking? Like soon?" Michael looked back at her. "Yeah, I was thinking like maybe this weekend." "This weekend? I mean, babe, it's Thursday right now. Like, what do you plan to leave? Should we leave tomorrow?" Maggie said, looking down the brochure. "Well, yeah, why not?" Michael said. "I mean, I guess," Maggie said. "What do you girls think? You guys up for a little family weekend away?" "Yeah," they both said. "That'd be fun," Lexi said. "All right, well then I guess it's settled," Michael said. Slide the brochure back towards him. It's like, "I'll go ahead and because I've still got that number from the company that we rented that motorhome with that last time. I'll go ahead. I'll pick it up in the morning and have it park it out here. And we can get it loaded up." And then then we'll just basically we'll head out. Well, where are we gonna go to? The same place we did last time, Daddy? Riley said, yeah, like, that was pretty fun where we went last time, Lexi said. I mean, I guess we could go back there, girls. What do you think, love? Said, looking back at Maggie. Honestly, I don't care. Wherever you want to go is fine, love. Maggie said, squeezing his shoulder. All right, girls, Michael said, looking over at Lexi and Riley. Why don't you girls go ahead and, like, you don't need to pack everything right now, but why don't you go ahead and, just start, whatever you need for the weekend, like, just start getting some stuff packed, like, clothes, if you guys want to bring any electronics or whatever, because obviously we're going to be in a motorhome, but we're going to do, I figured we'd do, like, campfire stories like we did last time. Oh, man, you mean scary stories again, Daddy? Riley said, yeah, those are pretty scary, Dad. Lexi said, I mean, yeah, I was scared. They're just stories, though. So, I mean, you don't want me to do, you guys don't want to do stories again? I mean, Lexi trailed off, looking over at Riley. I mean, I guess it was still fun, wasn't it? Wasn't it, sis? Riley looked over at Lexi. Yeah, it was. It scared me. Well, how about this, girls? Maggie said, squeezing Michael's shoulder again. Why don't you girls, when you pack your bag, why don't you just make sure to bring, bring your blankets and bring your, like, whatever stuffies you want to bring, whatever stuffed animals you want to bring with you and stuff. Like, Riley, do you still have your little, what do we call it? Your whoopee? Yeah, my whoopee, Riley said. And Lexi, don't you have, what do we call that, that little unicorn? We call it Corny? Oh, yeah, Lexi said. I'm gonna go get him now. Yeah, I'm gonna go get Whoopi, Riley said. All right, girls, Michael said, smiling back at Maggie. The girls got up and ran out of the room. Maggie sat down beside him and put an arm around him. You seem like you're really excited about going on another trip, huh, babe? She said. I mean, Michael said, it's just that we it's been a while and we really haven't, like, I know we're good, but I know that we definitely need, we need something like this. We need to do, a little bit, do family trips more often. Yeah, I agree with you, Maggie said, squeezing in. So I'm going to go pack a bag myself, get ready for tomorrow, and, like, what are you going to do? She said, looking over at Michael. I'm going to sit here for a little bit and just nursing this coffee. But yeah, I'll be up in a little bit to help pack some stuff. Maggie gave him a kiss and got up and left the room. The next morning, Michael got up bright and early and headed over to the RV rental facility. After talking to the representative for a little bit, shooting the shit back and forth, the rep actually remembering Michael from the last time they had rented at their location. Well, sir, yeah, like that. So I'm guessing you would like, are you wanting to do the same unit, the same kind of unit you did last time? Michael was looking down at, the little brochure on the counter that had a couple different units, a couple different motorhomes, different lengths, different features. Had a hand to the side of his face. Well, yeah, I was thinking so. I mean, it did. I think it worked out pretty well last time, so I think we'll do that again. All right, yes, sir. So you want to, like, we just need, obviously, you know the drill. We just need a credit card on file and stuff, and normally we do a deposit, but since you're a returning customer, I'm not going to worry about it. Oh wow, thank you, sir. Michael said. No problem. We like to take care of our regulars, so I'll be right back, he said. And he turned and walked to the back room. Michael kept looking at the brochure for a few minutes. And, the salesman came walking back and plopped keys on the counter right in front of him. There you go. That like it's literally right around back. You remember from the last time you were here, right? Where were you when you parked it when you came here? Yeah, so it's literally back in that same area. Yep, that's where that's not only that's both where they get parked once they're serviced and ready to go, and that's the same area that when they get returned, they drop them back there. We just every time they come back, they our mechanics just basically pick them up back there, take them to the shop, do what they gotta do, get them ready to go again, and then they just park them back there again, and they just get rented out again. Oh, cool, Michael said. All right, that sounds awesome. So, but yeah, thank you so much. He said, grabbing the keys and shaking the guy's hand. No problem, sir. Thank you for being a return customer. We appreciate you. Michael made his way to the back of the facility and found the motorhome that he'd rented before. Thought to himself, I'm really glad I Ubered here because, I almost drove and it was just out of habit, thinking to himself. Kind of chuckled. Standing there for another minute or two, continued kind of talking to himself. I mean, it would, I don't know, like what I would have done. I probably would have had to rent a car dolly to tow behind it, I guess, if I brought the car or whatever. But thankfully, I didn't do that. Hey, sir, are you okay? You're all of a sudden breaking his, like cutting through his conversation he's having with himself. Michael startled a little bit, jumped, turned around, seeing the sales rep. Oh yeah, I was just thinking out loud. Oh, okay, sir. All right. The salesman responded. So, is there anything else I can help you with, sir? Or nope. I'm pretty much good to go. I thank you for all your help, sir. Michael said. Yes, sir. I'll be inside if you need me, but otherwise, you have the keys. You're good to go. Alrighty, Michael said, walking towards the motorhome. As he let himself in and then fired it up, got behind the wheel and put his seatbelt on. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot how big these things are, he said as he sat there kind of staring through the windshield again. He felt himself kind of get a little bit distracted again, staring off into space and having more of a little bit of an internal dialogue with himself again. Yeah, I remember how enjoyable it was last time that we rented that motorhome and went on that trip or whatever. Oh man, it was great. I really hope the family. I really hope they have a good time this time again because I felt that really helped us out. And man, sat there thinking to himself. All of a sudden, he snaps himself out of it. He goes, "All right, man, come on, all right, stop, get distracted, and just let's get on the road. Let's get this home so we can get it packed up and get ready to go." So we put the motorhome in gear and pulled out of the driveway. Loud animated horn as he backed the motorhome into the driveway. Maggie and Riley and Lexi came running out. "Dad, you're home!" Lexi said. Riley giggled. "Oh man, you got that one with the weird horn again, Dad?" "That's right, babe. And you like it, No, I mean, I guess it's okay, right? It's just weird." "Yeah, Dad, it's pretty weird," Lex said. "I mean, babe, they're not wrong," Maggie says. "All right, guys, whatever. So I shouldn't do this again?" walks over, climbs in there, pushes the button again. Ah, Dad, stop! Lexi said, covered her ears. Yeah, Daddy. Oh my God. Riley says, covered her own ears. So I shouldn't. As he reaches for the button again, and Maggie literally points at him. Don't you dare, babe. All right, fine. Michael says, climbing back out of the motorhome. So we all packed. Are we all packed? Like, you guys all ready to go? Well, mostly. Maggie said, like, I mean, gotta load some food in there for the weekend, I believe, right? Yeah, we do. Michael said. What about you girls? You guys got your stuff? I think so. Lexi said. I mean, are we able to bring our? We are able to bring our like our tablet and computer and stuff. Well, I mean, yeah, you can. Michael said. Just cause make sure you bring your chargers and stuff, because obviously there's charging ports in the motorhome. You just got to and obviously we're not gonna stay in the motorhome the entire time. We're gonna, obviously go sit around the campfire. We got, we're gonna do s'mores. Hey, you did grab the stuff for s'mores, right, babe? Said, looking over at Maggie. Yeah, I did. Maggie said. They're in the bag and right inside the door. I just gotta go grab them. All right. Well, ladies, let's grab our stuff. Let's go. All right, Daddy. Riley and Lexi said as they ran back to the house. Maggie and Michael walked back to the house as well and started grabbing their stuff, bringing their bags and loading everything into the motorhome. Michael went to the kitchen with the couple boxes of food that they had packed, including some fridge and freezer stuff, and a little box of a few cooking utensils, pots and pans, and brought everything out to the motorhome. Maggie looked at him funny. That's a lot of food, babe. Like how long of a trip are we going? Just the weekend, Michael said. That much food for the weekend? Maggie said. Well, I mean, I'd rather, you know how I am, babe, Michael said, shrugging. It's like, I'd rather have too much, not enough. I mean, that's true. I guess that's true, Maggie said. We're here, Daddy, Riley and Lexi called out as they keep running over with their bags. All right, everybody out, all aboard. Maggie was like, you've been wanting to say that for a while, haven't you? Michael laughed. Yeah, you know it, babe. Maybe I was a conductor in my last life, he said, kind of looking off into space. Maggie punched him in the shoulder. Don't be starting to stare into space now, babe. Ow, that hurt, Michael said, rubbing his shoulder. I didn't punch you that hard, Maggie said. I mean, you kind of did, babe, but that's fine, God, I'm going to have a bruise tomorrow. Oh, quit whining, Maggie said. Let's go, babe, come on. All right, let's go. You heard your mom. Let everybody get on board. They climbed all onto into the motorhome and shut the door, and they made themselves comfortable as Michael got into the driver's seat, fired up the motorhome, and got ready to go. Everybody ready? Said Holler back to everybody. Yeah, the kids yelled. I'm ready too, babe, Maggie said, taking her seat behind him. You don't want to sit up here in front, babe? He said, looking at me. No, I'm good, Maggie said. So I'm going to sit back here and I'm going to put my feet up on this recliner back here. Okay, Michael said. Do you know where do you need me to navigate? Maggie said. No, I'm good, Michael said. As he puts the motorhome in drive and starts to pull out. As they're going down the highway, Michael randomly looks in the a mirror showing straight behind him, kind of like a rear view mirror, but obviously he can't see behind the motorhome. He can just see back into the back of the cab area. He looks back there and watching what the girls are doing. They got their tablets out, and they're both playing different games. And he glances in the mirror again, and looks over at Maggie and sees that she's got a book out and she's reading a book. Everybody good? How was that? Yeah, we're good, Dad. Yeah, babe, we're good. Okay, cool, Michael says as he continues down the road. How far or how long till we get there, Dad? Lexi said. A couple hours. Okay, sounds good. Looking forward to s'mores. Lexi said, looking over at Riley. Yeah, me too. Yeah, we definitely brought the marshmallows and the graham crackers, right, babe? He said, glanced over at Maggie. Yep, I got them. They're back there in the boxes. As we were going down the road, Michael would randomly come up with random road trip games that he'd played throughout different times driving down the highway. All right, guys. So here, how about a game? Kind of game, Lexi said. I like games, Riley said. Yeah, I like games too, Michael said. So here's one of the games that we play. Like going down the road, randomly would call out odd words that you'd see on signs as you pass them. What? Lexi said, looking over at Riley. That's kind of weird, Dad. Go, let's just try it, Michael said. Okay, both girls said. So I'll go first, Michael said. So, all right, so here we go. We're coming up on the sign up here. Ditch witch! He hollered out. What? Both girls yelled. What the hell is that? Maggie said, looking up at Babe, are you okay? No, just look, he said, pointing up ahead. Maggie turned and looked at the sign he was pointing at as they came by, as they started to pass it. Ditch witch, she said. What the hell is ditch witch? That's weird, Dad, Lexi said. Yeah, witch ditch? What? Riley said as they all watched the sign. Michael shrugged. I don't know. I think it's like a farm equipment company or something. I don't know, but it's like I said, we got, if you see something as we're going down the road, if it has like a weird word, we can holler it out. All right. As we went a couple more miles, all of a sudden, Lexi jumped up, ran to the window. Fietti! Michael looked in the mirror behind him and kind of glanced at Maggie with the raised eyebrow. She was looking back at him with the same expression, and then they both kind of, Maggie turned and looked back at Lexi. Baby girl, what was that? Over there, Dad, over there. Maggie and Michael looked in the direction that Lexi was pointing. Oh, you're looking at that direction sign right there? That the green direction sign saying like how many miles till? Yeah, Lexi said. Oh, okay, baby girl, I think that's Fayette, I think. Fayette? Lexi said. Yeah, I think so, Michael said. I mean, maybe you're right, I don't know. We could call it Fayette. 1 point for Lexi, he said. Lexi grinned and beamed back at him. All right, so then as they're going down the road, all of a sudden Riley jumps up, runs over to the window. Kansas City, huh? Michael looks over. Oh, baby girl, Kansas City. Yeah, that's quite a ways. That says like 800 miles away, whatever. But that's a good one, baby girl. That's very good. But that's pronounced Kansas. Oh, Kansas? Riley says. Yeah, baby girl, Kansas. Oh, okay, Daddy, she said. Okay, Maggie says, kind of just, continuing to look out through the window as they go down the road. Well, I think you're up, babe, Michael says, glancing over. I know, just a second, Maggie said. Maggie looks up and goes, Huntsdale. Michael looks at the upcoming direction sign that she's pointing at. I think that's pronounced Huntsdale, babe. You think? Was there an E on the end of that? Maggie said. Yeah, I think there was, but unfortunately, we've already passed it, so I didn't quite see it, but yeah, good job, babe. He said. Maggie looked at him and said, well, we can't all find random advertising signs that have weird words like ditch witch on it, babe. Yeah, I know, Michael said. All right, so Daddy, how far now? Lexi called from the back. We're about 45 minutes away, it looks like. Okay. Hey, Daddy, Riley says, what is Harrisburg? Michael chuckled a little bit. You mean that's Harrisburg, baby girl? That's just another town out here. Oh, okay, Riley said. That's kind of a weird word too, isn't it, Dad? Lexi said. I mean, kind of, Michael said, but not as weird as the other word we've come across. So Michael hollered back behind him. So what, Dad? Lexi said. So I believe, if not mistaken, I think your mom might have put some ice cream cups in the freezer. What? Riley said, running over to the freezer and opening it up. Oh, sissy, yeah, he's right. Mom put ice cream cups in here. Can we have one, Mom? Can we please? Maggie looked up at Michael. I was trying to save those for later, babe. I'm sorry, but we could get more. All right, girls, go ahead, Maggie said. Yay! They said, both grabbing an ice cream cup and a spoon. Maggie all of a sudden pointed forward and says, what is that? Like, I'm going to try to pronounce that. What is that? Rushaport? Michael saw what she was pointing at before it passed and said, I'm not sure. That might be like Rockport, possibly. Man, there's somebody that we don't even have to see any advertisement signs. We could just see these like direction signs this many miles till this, or these towns are passed. Some of these towns have very weird names. Yeah, they really do, Dad, Lexi said as she was taking another bite of ice cream. All right, girls, looks like, we're about 10 minutes away. Yay, both girls hollered as they continued eating their ice cream. So, and this is the same spot we went to before, right, babe? Margaret said, or Maggie said. Yeah, it is, Michael said. A few minutes later, they were pulling up to a gate, and Michael pulled up and rolled down the window. Hey, good evening, or good afternoon, folks. How are you doing this afternoon? The guard greeted them. We're doing good, Michael said. We have a reservation for lot 10A. Ah, very good location, sir. Just gonna need to see your ID, and there is a refundable. Michael chimed in, cutting him off. Yeah. Oh yeah, deposit. Yep. I remember. We've been here before. Ah, very good, sir. Very good, sir. The guard replied. So yeah, your deposit's $100, and it'll obviously, like, as long as you leave the location, campsite, the way you found it, then you get your deposit back when you come out. But if obviously we have to inspect when you guys are ready to take off, and as long as everything's good, we'll give it back to you. But obviously, if there's still trash and stuff, we can clean it up, and you forfeit your deposit, or if you guys clean everything up, then you get it back. Yep, I remember, Michael said, handing him his credit card. Very good, sir. You're good to go. I assume you already know where to go. Yes, sir, I do, Michael said. Okay, cool. Handing him his credit card back. And he waved at another guard and opened the gate. Now, from what I know, you guys are here before, so as you know, just be careful because there are wild animals obviously here. You do have bears and some large other large animals in here, but they usually will leave the campers alone for the most part. But just be careful, like don't leave food out overnight, and like make sure to lock it away in your RV here, or obviously high up in a tree or something. Yep, I remember Michael said. All right, cool. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Sunday when you guys are getting ready to head out. Yes, sir. Michael said. Half an hour later, they were all parked at their site and had hooked up. Had the electricals hooked up and had hooked up their sewage lines and their water lines, and were basically all ready to hang out for the weekend. Michael got out of the motorhome and popped open one of the side boxes that they not only had some random gear, but they also had brought some firewood with them. Michael grabbed the wood and started, went over to the little campfire area and started to get the wood all set up. We're not doing the fire yet, are we, babe? Maggie said. No, not yet. Michael said, I'm just getting ready. I figured we'd maybe just make some food really quick, and just kind of hang out until it gets dark, and then we can like jump into the stories. Like maybe because we brought hot dogs and stuff, we could probably roast those over the fire or the s'mores, while we're just hanging out under the campfire and stuff. That sounds fun, Maggie said. Daddy, can we go swim in the lake over there on that beach over there? Yeah, I don't see why not. Michael said. Just be careful. Just just keep an eye on your sister. Okay. The girls said as they ran to get their change into their suits and then run down to the beach. This is pretty relaxing, Maggie said, looking over at the girls as they ran off. Yeah, it's kind of what I figured. Michael said. It's just something that could never go wrong with the relaxing family vacation, he said. Maggie came over and pulled him into a hug. I'm so grateful that to be here. Like I think this is a great idea, babe, she said. Thanks, love, he said. Later on that night, as it started to get dark, the girls were still swimming down there by the lake. Michael got his fire starter out and started igniting the wood for the campfire. Then he grabbed folding chairs out from one of the compartments under the motorhome and positioned them around the fire. Hey, babe, what cabinet do we have those marshmallows and stuff in? He said, looking over at Maggie. I think they're above the fridge. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, babe. He said, going in there. And a minute or two later, coming back out with the 2 boxes of the graham crackers and the 2 bags of marshmallows. How long do you think these are going to last? He says, looking over at Maggie. Maggie grinned and looks over at the girls, then looks back at Michael. Probably not that long, I'm thinking. Yeah, you're probably right, Michael said. So he positioned the graham crackers and the marshmallows on a little table he'd set up not far from the fire. Hey girls, it's getting dark. Let's go ahead and wrap it up and come back, he said. He hollered back. Okay, Daddy, Riley hollered back. All right, Dad, we'll be right there, Lexi said. About 10 minutes later, the girls were coming over with having dried themselves off and had slipped in like pairs of shorts over the bottoms of their swimsuits, and then had thrown on sweatshirts. Are you guys not hot with those sweatshirts? Michael said, looking over at Lexi and Riley. No, actually, they're pretty comfortable. You know us, Dad. We're always cold. Maggie laughed. I mean, you should know us by now, babe. Well, I mean, I guess, Michael said. I mean, that's just because, me, I'm always hot. Yeah, Daddy, we've always found that kind of weird. We're freezing and you're always in shorts. Yeah, Daddy, Riley said. Michael laughed. Well, girls, that's just how I am. That's just how it is. Some people are always cold. Some people are always hot. Some people really don't care. I just happen to be on the hot spectrum. So who's ready for s'mores and campfire stories? He said. Me, Riley said. Me too, Lexi said. I mean, I'm not looking forward to the scary story too much, babe, because I know you can tell a really, really good scary story, but let's do it, Maggie said. All right, I'll try not to make it too scary, Michael said. So they got their blankets. Michael looked over at Lexi and Riley and said, "Hey, make sure you girls get your stuffies, whatever you want to cuddle with, just in case you get scared while I'm telling the story, because it's getting dark. I don't want you guys to be too scared. Make sure, remember, like last time, you guys can cover your face up if you get too scared. Just, squeeze your stuffed animal, whatever." Yeah, we remember, Daddy, Riley said. I got mine, Lexi said, holding up her corny. You got your whoopee, babe? He said, looking over at Riley. Yeah, Daddy, got mine. Okay, cool. That's awesome, baby girl. All right, so here we go, guys. As the fire started to get bigger, Michael and Maggie and the girls all sat in their chairs, covered up with their blankets. Lexi and Riley grabbed their stuffies and cuddled up with them. All right, Michael said. So this story is called I Gotta Get Her Back. That's a weird title, Lexi said. Shush, Michael said, looking over. Okay, Dad, sorry. I mean, it's kind of weird, babe, Maggie said. Michael just glared at her. You want me to tell the story or not? All right, girls, let's be quiet so Dad can tell the story, Maggie said. All right, Maggie. All right, Lexi and Riley both said. All right, so anyway, Michael continued. So the title, Gotta Get Her Back. So a couple, Jason and Jessica. That's weird names, Daddy. Shush, Michael said. Okay, sorry. All right, so anyway, Michael said. Jason and Jessica had been traveling, and they went for a hike. So they pulled off, parked in this deserted area, and Jason had looked over at Jessica and basically been like, "Hey, let's we gotta look at that. There's a hiking trail over there. Like, why don't we go for a small hike?" Jessica looked at Jason and basically was like, "Babe, are you nuts? Like, we don't know where we are. Like, we literally miles outside of town. Why do you want to go for a hike now?" Well, Jason said, I mean, you never know. There might be some geocaches out here, and it's middle of the day. It's probably safe. Probably fine. It looks like a walking path, Jason said. All right, fine. Let's do it. It could be fun, Jessica said. So anyway, Michael continued. So Jason and Jessica start to walk down this path, and it leads them into the woods. And as they're walking into the woods, he continued. Jason and Jessica were commenting to each other about how peaceful everything looked. Jessica would point at some animals that were grazing nearby, and some squirrels that were in the trees or whatever, and commenting about how fascinating it was how animals could just be themselves like that in nature. Michael paused, looking over at Riley and Lexi and Maggie. They just stared back at him, and so he continued. So anyway, Michael said. So Jason and Jessica, as they walked, They walk down the path, and they continue to go deeper and deeper into the woods. Michael heard a little bit of a gasp from Riley. Looks over at Riley. Are you okay, baby? Daddy, I don't know if I like where this is going. What do you mean? Michael said. I mean, I'm already getting a little bit scared. Like they're going deeper and deeper into the woods. Sweetheart, Maggie said, let's just let Daddy tell the story. Okay, Riley said. It'll be fine, sis, Lexi said, grabbing Riley by the hand and squeezing. Okay, Riley said. All right, so anyway, Michael continued. The path continued to go deeper and deeper into the woods, and Jason pointed at a tree and said, "Oh, look, I think what is that over there?" He said. Jessica, of course, kind of nudged him and said, "Babe, that's pretty far off. That's like a couple 100 feet off the path. I think we should stay on the path." Yeah, stay on the path, guys, Riley hollered out. Michael chuckled. Shush. But yes, you're probably right, Riley. Riley laughed and looks over and says, "See, Daddy said I was right." Well, quiet, Lexi said. Girls, Maggie said. Okay, Riley and Lexi both, snuggled up with their stuffies. So Jessica had pointed out that, it's really not a good idea. We should stay on the path. Oh, it'll be fine, babe. It'll be fine. Jason said as he left the path to go over to this tree with this weird symbol on it. As he gets over to the path, or he gets over to the tree, he realizes the symbol is actually got text over the symbol. It's very small, but he can just barely read it. And he gets her. He hollers back to Jessica, who's still on the path, just like looking over at him with her hands on her hips, and just kind of has a look of frustration. Maggie kind of chuckles in the background. Michael looks over at her. What's so funny, babe? It sounds like us, babe. Maggie said, like you going off on one of your little adventures or whatever, while I stand back and kind of like I'm glaring at you because I'm like, I think we should stay over here. Yeah, you're right, Michael said, kind of chuckling. But this is not us. It's the story, obviously. Yeah, I'm just saying, Maggie said. All right, well, do you want me to continue? Michael said. All right, fine. Continue, please. All right, so anyway, Michael said. So Jason looks back at Jessica, and he's hey babe, there's some random text here. What? Jessica hollers out. What's it say? Well, let's see. It says like whoever reads this text will be cursed. What? Jessica hollers out. I don't like the sound of that. Can we please go back? Babe, it's gonna be fine, Jason hollers out. Babe, please, Jessica hollers out. No, just a second. Hold on. So it says, Jason starts to continue. And then Jessica, of course, hollers back. Please don't read it anymore. I don't like this. Jason's gonna be fine, babe. Hold on. So it says. And then, of course, in the background, he still hears Jessica like, babe. Jason hollers out again, babe, it's gonna be fine. Just relax. So anyway, it says, after reading these words and touching this one spot, the dot on the bottom of this tree that looks like a half moon then you will be under a curse, and you will, you know, you will have to complete and trails off. Jessica, like, complete what? I don't know, Jason hollers back. It just says complete, and it has 2 dots afterwards. But what is this symbol it talked about? Press this symbol, and he looks down towards the bottom of the tree and kneels down to the ground. And he sees a very small half moon carving on the bottom of the tree, and he starts to reach towards it to touch it with his finger. Babe, what are you doing? Jessica hollered out. I'm just checking it out, he said. Babe, don't touch it. By the time she said it, though, Michael had just put a finger on the image, and before either of them could say anything else, everything went dark. All of a sudden, they couldn't see anything except the dark outlines of all the trees in the woods. And Jason turned around, looking back towards where Jessica was standing, and he could only see, he barely make out her features. She looked like a dark shadow in the distance. But all of a sudden, his breath caught in his throat. Holy shit, babe! What? Jessica hollered out. Jason's like, there's somebody behind you. What? Jessica said, well, turning around. What the hell is that? All of a sudden, there was a growl. And from where Jason was standing, all he saw was an image or an outline of a figure came at Jessica, got a hold of her, and then there was a poof, looked like a black cloud, and then all of a sudden, nobody was there. Jason, panicking, ran over to the path. Jessica, where are you? Jessica, where'd you go? Michael paused, looking over at Maggie and the girls. Riley and Lexi were both under their blankets with the blanket pulled up to their eyes and were squeezing their stuffies really tight. He looks over at Maggie, and Maggie was just biting, like, had one fist kind of like up towards her face, kind of biting on her fist a little bit. Are you guys okay? Michael said. Good Lord, babe, Maggie said. Like, you really know how to tell a story, Maggie said, cringing. Thanks, babe. What about you girls? You guys okay? Riley and Lexi looked at each other and then looked back at Michael. Mm-hmm, they said, nodding. Are you sure? Michael said, you look pretty scared. Do we need to take a break? No, it's fine, Riley said, looking over at Lexi. It's not too scary, right, sissy? She said, kind of shivering. Lexi looked over at her and grinned a little bit, but shivered a little bit. I mean, I guess, Dad, that's just that. I mean, you did say, like, you do like your scary stories, so let's just keep going. Okay, Michael said. So, he continued. So Jason, standing on the path and hollering, Jessica, where'd you go? Jessica! And, as he looks around, he can't see anything because it's very, it's, like I said, it's pitch black. All he could see, the outlines of the trees. He barely was able to see Jessica before she disappeared. And then he thought to himself, like, oh man, what was that thing that got her? Like, it just looked like a dark shadow, but it walked right up to her and then it enveloped her and then she was gone. Oh my God. Jessica, he hollered out. All of a sudden, Michael continued. All of a sudden, Jason heard a voice as if it was in his head, but at the same time as if it was all around him, like in a growling sort of whisper. You're warned. Jason froze, and he panicked. In a panic, he looked around, but all he could see was darkness. Who's there? Jason called out. Michael again paused, looking at the girls, who were shivering as they held the blankets up, covering their faces. Michael continued. So Jason, looking around in the darkness, terrified and not sure what to do. No, who's there? He hollered out again. You were warned. The voice said again. Jason shivered. He goes, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck is this? Where's Jessica? You read the text on the symbol on the tree, the voice said. What? Jason hollered out. I don't understand. Where the fuck are you? I am everywhere, the voice growled. Jason kept looking behind him, and then spinning circles and looking off in a different direction. And then spinning circles again and looking off a different direction. Over here, the voice said. Jason spun around, looked behind him, but still not seeing anything. What do you want? Jason hollered out. Why did you press? Or why did you touch the symbol? It growled. What symbol? Jason hollered out. You know what symbol. You read the text. You touched the symbol. Now you are cursed, the voice growled. You mean that fucking symbol on the tree? Michael said. Wow, babe, got some language going on in this story, Maggie said. I'm sorry, Michael said. You want me to tone it down a little bit? No, it's fine, Maggie said. Just, continue, please. You girls okay? Maggie said, looking over Lexi and Rowdy. They said, both burying their face in their plushies and covering their face with their blankets. Okay, Michael said. So, Jason, continually turning around and looking behind him, looking off to the side, and he doesn't see anything except darkness. Again, where's Jessica? She's mine, the voice growled. No! Please, I'm sorry, I was stupid, I didn't mean to touch that. Lies, the voice growled. I swear, I won't do it, I'll do anything, please. Anything you say? The voice growls. Yes, anything, just please bring me my girlfriend back. How do I know you really do anything? I swear, just bring Jessica back, please. Very well. What you need to do is veer from the path. Head north. Go until you see a tree that is very deformed, the voice growled. A tree that is very deformed? Yes, it growled. Okay, then what? Michael said. Or Jason said. When you see that tree, you're going to find the side of the tree that has that same symbol. Do you understand so far? Jason, quivering now, nodded his head. I don't hear you, the voice growled. Yes, I understand, Jason said. When you see that symbol, it's going to be pointing in a certain direction. You must go that direction. 32 steps. 32 steps? Jason said. Yes, they growled. Not 33, not 30. 32 steps. Oh, okay, Jason said. And then what? Then, they growled, you will dig. Dig down 4 feet, and you will find an object buried in the ground. It's gonna have some special carvings on it. You're gonna want to make your way back to that tree that had the symbol. Oh, okay, Jason said. Good Lord, Daddy, this is a scary story, Riley said. I know, baby girl, you okay? Michael said, yeah, I'm fine. Hey, Maggie said, she comes over to Riley and Lexi. She grabs their chairs and kind of pulls them closer together. Here, just why you girls? I'm just gonna bring you guys closer together. Lexi, would you like just hold Riley's hand? Just here, you guys can do. You guys can even share each other's blankets or whatever. Just that way if you guys get scared, okay? Then Riley and Lexi say, okay, Mom, all right, Maggie comes back over and covers back up under her blanket on the chairs and motions to Michael, continue, love. Okay, Michael says. So Michael continues. So when you bring that object that has the image carved into it back to the tree, and you put that object, that talisman, over the image that was pointing in that direction in the first place. Okay, Jason says. And when you do that, you will chant the words that are on there are words on the back of that talisman. You might not be able to read them, but you need to chant them. If I can't read them, how can I chant them? Jason said. Do your best. Oh, okay, Jason said. Once you chant those words, you're gonna hear a click. Look around at the bottom of that tree, and you're gonna find a little compartment on the bottom of the wood of the tree that will have opened up. Pull that out, and inside there's another talisman that has a very similar image carved into it like the first one. You want to bring those back over here, and you want to place them in such a way over beside where you're standing, over by the first tree, and you want to position them at the base of the tree, forming a sort of triangle shape. Does that make sense? I think so. Once you do that, you'll have completed the quest, or completed your task, and the young lady will be returned to you. And then I will advise you further after that. Oh, okay. But what about... But then there was a little bit of a booming sound in his head, and all of a sudden the presence that he was feeling and that he was hearing was gone. Michael paused, looking at Maggie and Lexi and Riley. Everybody good? He said. They all nodded. Okay, Michael said. So he continued. So Jason made his way over in the direction that he was directed before, and he found the tree. Oh, okay, Jason said to himself. So said find the like an image on the tree and then be pointing a certain direction. And he, so he found the image and he looks at the direction. Goes, okay, I think it's pointing this way. He said to himself. And so it said 32 steps. He said to himself. Yeah, I think 32 steps. Okay. So he takes 32 steps and he starts to dig. Digs down a couple feet and he finds the talisman that the presence had mentioned. He takes that out of the ground and he goes, okay, so now what did it say to do? He said to himself. Riley hollers out, it said to go back to the other tree, right, Daddy? Michael laughed. Yep, you're right, baby. So anyway, so yeah, he says to himself, all right, I got to go back to this tree. And so he makes his way back 32 steps to get back to the tree. And then he thinks to himself, all right, so now I got to place this here. Takes the talisman and places it over the image on the tree and chants the words that are on the back of the talisman. What do the words say, Daddy? Riley hollered out. Michael laughed. Hold on, baby girl, I'm getting there. So as Jason puts the talisman over the symbol and he looks at the words, he goes, well, first thing he realizes when he looks at the words is they're not really words. They're just kind of like random letters put together that don't even make anything that he, make any words that he actually like recognizes. But of course, following the instructions of the being, the entity that sent him that direction, he did his best to sound it out. So let's see. Jason says, first word, SHIU. So Shiu. Second word, LITANA. So Shiu Latana. All right. Third. Then there's one more word here. Let's see. Jason says, looking at it. BONGORI. Shiu Latara Bengari. He says to himself, and he hears a click on the bottom of the tree, and so he walks around to the back of the tree. How big is this tree, Daddy? Lexi hollers out. Well, baby girl, I think like the entity said, it's a very big, very odd shaped, very deformed kind of tree, whatever. So I'm assuming it's like big and round and just ugly or whatever. Oh, okay, Lexi says. Any more questions, girls, or can I continue? No, go ahead, Dad. Lexi said. All right, so anyway, Michael said. So Jason maneuvers around to the back of the tree, looks down near the ground level like the entity had told him, and he sees what looks like part of the wood on the bottom like sticking out. And so he bends down and he pulls this little piece out and he reaches in this little hole at the bottom of the tree and he feels what feels like another little small tablet, a couple inches, like 2 or 3 inches wide, like an inch long or whatever. So he takes it out and he, grabs that and the other tablet, the other object he'd taken out of the ground. All right, so what next? He said to himself. All right, girls, do you remember what was next? Michael said, looking over at Riley and Lexi. Didn't it say he had to take those two, what would they call them, talismans? talismans. Michael said, "Yeah, you're right, girl. You're right, baby girl. And talismans. So take those 2 talismans back to where he initially was, and he has to like find the initial tree he you know that he read and touch that symbol he shouldn't have touched, right, Daddy?" "Yep, you're right, baby girl," Michael said. So Jason makes his way back to the path that he was on before, and then when he gets back to where he was, he has to look around because it's still really dark. Like he still can barely see in these woods. "Hey, Daddy, I have a question," Lexi said. "Yeah, what's up?" Michael said, looking over. "Didn't you say that when they got into the woods initially, before he went over to that tree and did what he did, that it was like daylight there?" "Yeah, that's right," Michael said. "Man, it's real stupid for him to read that, wasn't it, Daddy?" Lexi said. Maggie laughed. Out of the mouths of babes," she said, looking over at Michael. "Yep, you're right. So anyway, should I continue, girls?" Yeah, go ahead. I was just curious, So Michael's like, "All right." So anyway, Jason makes he sees a dark shadow in the distance, and it makes his way over and realizes that's the initial tree that had the image on it, and the symbol that he was not supposed to touch that he touched, and he gets to that tree, and Michael looks over at the girls again. "So what's it supposed to be? So what did the entity say to do next, girls?" Riley was like, didn't he say to like put the 2 talismans or whatever in a little like a triangle, against each other, forming like a teepee or something on the ground or whatever? "Yep, you're right, girls," Michael said. So Jason, he puts the little talismans on the ground and forms a little triangle, and then again chants the same words that were on the back of the talismans before, and all of a sudden he's standing back at back on the path again, and it's daylight again. He turns around and realizes that Jessica is standing behind him, and she's awake, but her eyes are completely white. "Oh my God," Lexi said, covering her face with the blanket. Michael laughed and then continued. So Jason ran over to Jessica, like, babe, are you okay?" Shaking her. Jessica didn't respond right away, though. Jessica just continued to stare back at him with all white eyes, her hands hanging loosely at her side. Jason continued to shake her. Babe, shaking her. All of a sudden, in his head, he heard the voice of the entity again. "You have completed the task I assigned to you." Jason froze, not knowing where the voice was coming from. "So," he continued, "I will let you go this time." "Oh, okay," Michael said, looking all around, wondering where the voice is coming from. "There's one condition." "What is that?" Michael said, or Jason said. "You must take those talismans you found, and you must bury them at the base of that tree and draw the same symbol that's on those talismans in the dirt above them." "What? I don't understand," Jason said. "When you draw that symbol," the voice continued, "there's going to be a rumble and a flash, and then that tree with that special symbol and the diagram that you were not supposed to touch that summoned me here. That symbol in the dirt will create a hidden field, like a shield around that tree, to where nobody else will be able to see it, and nobody else will summon me here. Oh, okay, Jason said. And then we're free to go? At that point, you will be free to go, the voice rumbled. So Jason ran over to the tree with the talismans and dug in the dirt and put both the talismans in the dirt, covered them up. And then what's he do next, girls? Michael said, looking over at Riley and Lexi. Lexi said, I think he has to draw the symbol in the dirt, right? Yeah, that's what he said. Riley said. Oh, yep, you're right, girls. So Jason draws the symbol in the dirt and then stands up and takes a step back and waits. At first, he's kind of confused because nothing happens. Is that it? He hollers out. All of a sudden, there's a rumble and a flash, and when he opens his eyes next, he doesn't see the tree in front of him anymore. You mean the tree's gone, Daddy? Riley hollers out. That's right, baby girl. So Jason notices the tree's gone, and he looks at the dirt where he put the talismans, and he no longer sees the fresh dirt that he just dug, and there's no longer the symbol drawn in the dirt. It's just gone, Riley says. That's right, baby girl. So Jason runs back over to the path where Jessica's standing, and at first when he gets there, she's still just standing there, staring at him, with her eyes completely white. Jason shakes her, and then pulls her into a hug, freaking out. Jessica, please come back. All of a sudden, like, he feels her shudder, and he pulls her away from him again to look at her face, and he sees her eyes go from white, and slowly the color comes back to them. She blinks and stares at him, and then looks around, looks back at Jason. What? Where are we? Jessica says. We're still on the path, Jason says. And she looks around, and she looks back at him. I'm a little confused. I feel like something happened, but I don't remember. Like, did I go somewhere? Jessica said. I vaguely remember kind of being in a really dark place, and then there was like nothing, and then I'm back here with you on the path. Jessica looks over where the tree was. Wasn't there a tree over there? Jason looks over where she's pointing. He goes, "Yep. I'm sorry, babe. I shouldn't have done what I did. I shouldn't have read the text on there and touched the symbol. Man, I freaking told you, babe. So can we get out of here? Like, I don't want to go any further. Like, obviously, like, there's already had one surprise here in these on this walking path. I just want to go. Yeah, okay, we could go. Jason said. So Jason and Jessica made their way back to where they parked the car at, and they left to continue towards their home. Having talked it out on the way home, and kind of told Jessica everything that happened, Jessica very understandably was very upset with Jason about what he did. And after talking it out and holding, as they're going down the road, Jason would hold Jessica's hand and tell her babe, I'm really sorry. I won't do anything like that again. It was stupid. I feel like I almost lost you. I promise I won't do anything like that again. I promise. So as they continued home, they made a pact, made an agreement together that they would always play it safe, and that they would never venture into unknown areas, and that they, but especially Jason, would never go explore and check out weird symbols in areas they weren't familiar with, and would especially not read any weird text on any areas that they were hanging out in, so that they could hopefully avoid having anything like this happen. As they're continuing down the road, heading home, Jessica, of course, looks over at Jason and basically is like, because you never know, next time we might not be so lucky. Next time, like, one of us might die or whatever. Jason cringed. You're right, babe. You're right. I'm sorry. You know, just the adventure in me, but I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Yeah, I love you. He said. I love you too, Jessica said. So Jason and Jessica continued towards their home, and from then on played it safe, and always were cautious when they were going out and about, especially on walking past in areas they were unfamiliar with. But from then on, he always listened to his girlfriend. And Michael said this as he glances over at Maggie, and then continues, because obviously, you know, his other half is very wise and loving, and he wants anything and everything good, and wants her to be happy with him. And of course, Maggie, when he says this, kind of grins at him. Like, apparently he's a smart dude. Jason grins, apparently. So anyway, Jason and Jessica basically go on to live happy lives, avoiding trouble as much as possible, and not risking putting each other in danger ever again. But they lived happily ever after. The end. So, girls, what'd you think? And he looks over at Maggie, at Lexi and Riley, who were halfway under their blankets and were cuddling with their stuffies. Riley kind of peeked her head out from under the blanket. I mean, I guess it wasn't quite as bad as when we were on the last camping trip. Your story back then was, I think, was a little more scary, but this one was still a little bit scary. What do you think, sissy? Riley says, looking over at Lexi. Yeah, the entity's voice, you know, the growl or whatever, pretty scary. I thought it was good, Dad. It was good. You tell stories pretty good, Dad. Yeah, he's definitely not too shabby at all, right, girls? Maggie said, looking over at Riley and Lexi, then grinning back at Michael. Well, thank you, Michael said. Who's up for s'mores? Me. All three of Lexi, Riley, and Maggie hollered out. So, after hanging in the campground and spending quality time together for the next 24 hours, they loaded up their motorhome back with their stuff, made sure to clean up the campsite so that they would not be penalized the $100 deposit, and they took off to head back towards home. After they got home, the girls, of course, took their stuff inside, and Maggie and Michael unpacked the rest of the stuff, and they sat down at the table to enjoy a cup of coffee together. And while they sat there and talked, they talked about the weekend. They talked about how nice it was to hang out together, spend time with each other, and spend time with the girls. And they talked about how it had been way too long since the last trip they had taken. Holding hands and sipping their coffee, they agreed that they should definitely do stuff like this more often. That they should make time for each other and for the girls, and make these special memories together. Over the coming months, they made sure to plan when they're gonna head out again to do their next family vacation. Every time going to the same campsites. Every time renting a motorhome and doing campfires and s'mores, and the girls swimming in the lake before it gets dark, covering themselves up with their blankets, cuddling with their plushies, and then getting settled into their chairs as their dad, Michael, tells them yet another spooky story around the campfire. And as time went on, this became a regular tradition. They would refer to it as the family campfire scary story trips. So as the years passed and the girls got older, they would randomly come home just to visit their parents. Maggie and Michael would already have the next trip scheduled, and Michael would already have an idea what kind of story he was gonna come up with for them. And every time, he never disappointed. It was always a scary story that left them covering themselves up with a blanket and cringing and pulling their whatever stuffies they had brought with them tighter against them. But it had become a very welcomed and very loved tradition between Maggie and Michael and their girls. And as time even went on and the girls had kids, the family camping trips with the spooky stories had even also included the grandkids. So Maggie and Michael, Lexi and Riley, their spouses and their kids, and eventually great-grandkids would all make an effort or make these trips and listen to these stories and enjoy s'mores. And the whole family, from one generation to the next, lived happily ever after. The end. Hey guys, welcome back. You know what I always say, as always, appreciate you being here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this week's freestyle episode of Storytime Friday. One thing I'm definitely, you know what they say, like, I know that there's a couple sayings. Practice makes perfect, but I've also heard practice makes consistent. And so especially with, like, if you're trying to work on something, like let's say you're trying to get into like writing journal entries, and let's say you're a writer, but let's say you need the proper motivation, or sometimes you might want to do it, but let's say you're tired, so you're feeling lazy, and you're just like, man, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. Then sometimes it can be hard to do it, but the more, and that's kind of what I've been talking to you guys about before, where I'm trying to keep these episodes getting recorded every week, trying to keep them posting, because I figure if I let up, if I don't do it, I'm gonna be, it makes it even more difficult for me to basically come back and do it again, you know, because once you skip one week, it's like it's so much easier to skip the following week and just not, you know, I've taken a couple weeks off before only to be like, all right, like I got to get back into this, you know, I don't want to just have this podcast just stop, so I'm trying like hell to keep at it, even if, like, hell, there's a lot of times when I start recording, especially these stories, where in my mind I'm telling myself, all right, I'm gonna do it, but physically I'm thinking, maybe, I mean, I don't need to do it tonight. I can probably try tomorrow or over the next couple of days, try to get one recorded, maybe do one from home on my day off. But then I'm talking myself out of that as well, thinking that, you know, if I wait and I try to tell myself I'm going to record over the weekend, then there's that other voice that says, yeah, but what if you don't? And then what if you put it off Monday? What if you put it off Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you get up to Thursday and like, oh crap, there's no story recorded for tomorrow. I mean, yeah, I have backup stuff. Like I have some stuff written, so I technically could, read one of the stories, but I'd have to sit down either with just my phone and recording that way, or sit down on my computer with a condenser mic and actually read one of those stories. It's a little bit difficult to get myself to do when I only have limited time off. So it's like, that's why that's why I've been doing the freestyle stories lately while I'm out here. Throw the recording app on, throw my headset on, and just go ahead and go for it. Because anything I can get done throughout the week, that for like the following week, if I get it done, then technically on my Sunday off, I don't have to worry about like, I have to find time to do this. Because if it's already done, I'm good. Like I can just, try to enjoy time with the fam and not worry about quote unquote working, So, I mean, what I was saying about, like practice makes consistent. So like the more you do something, usually the easier it gets. And so I am noticing lately, since I'm doing these freestyle stories and making sure to get them recorded each week, I am noticing that as I do them, it's not feeling too hard, especially once I get going into the story. Sometimes it's easier to okay, cool, the ideas are flowing, and we're gonna keep going. So, but what I'm looking forward to is actually I'll have a couple weeks off in like the next 4 weeks. Was planning to go down and see my parents, but of course they're gonna go out of town, so probably gonna still travel probably back to Tennessee for like 2 or 3 days to take care of some stuff, and then come back here. And but during that 2-week period that I'm taking off, I figured hopefully, especially if I'm not like too lazy, I'm hoping that before I have that first week off, that I'll have already done Real Talk and the Storytime Friday for that week. And then that week I'll be working on the stuff for the next week, my second week off. And then all I have to do is, on my second week off, or basically the plan is hopefully to do a couple of Real Talk Tuesday and a couple of stories, so that way I can be good for a couple weeks, so I can come back to work, come back out here and basically just do what I gotta do and already have stuff scheduled to post, so that's kind of what I'm hoping, but it really depends on how I feel, and of course I get lazy when I'm home too, like, I don't want to do anything. But it really depends, because, on some of those days, I know my wife, with her new job, she sometimes closes. So it's like, if I have a day where I'm home those 2 weeks and she's closing until like 11 o'clock, I might actually get some stuff done, because I'm not going to get up early, but I'm always up late. So if she's working late and the kids are all hiding in their rooms or whatever, of course I'll be hanging out with the new fur addition to a new fur kiddo that we're adopting. I'll tell you guys about probably the next Real Talk once we have her, which will be at the time of this recording. Technically it's today, but not going to talk about it yet, because want to have it happen first, and then tell you guys all about it. So anyway, on that note, rambled on long enough, and but I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Again, you can find us on socials, on Instagram at Logical Podcast. Personal for me, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You can find me at TN Trucker Chris. You can find me on YouTube at Christopher Blodgett. Blog at tnTruckerChris.wordpress.com. And on X at CEAZFreedom. And anybody who wants to support the show, again, please donate if you're able to. Any donations help with any hosting costs or as they grow and build or whatever, they'll help with like things like publishing the written stories that we've had, and getting those physical copies available for listeners to actually like purchase and or give like. I have little plans to like try to figure out goodie bags or give away some of the published books to donators and supporters of the site or supporters of the show. So please donate if you're willing. Lodgeshow.com/support. But you know what I would say, guys? Keep pushing forward, keep believing. Believe you can, believe you will. And you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. You never fail unless you quit, give up, and walk away. So as long as you every time you get knocked down, if you get back up, tell life you hit like a bitch, keep going, you haven't failed. And as long as you keep at it, you're it doesn't count as a failure until you stop trying. So keep trying no matter what it is. One of the things that I've actually found, that I've heard in the past couple months that I've kind of been trying to live by is basically positivity. And I know people sometimes say, "Oh, that's bullshit. That's crap." I don't believe in that stuff. It works. I'm telling you. Like, try to avoid sayings like, "I can't afford that. I don't have the money for that." Or like the one person I told you about, a former friend of mine called D. She would always be like, "This sucks, that sucks, everything sucks, nothing's ever gonna get better. Life is horrible." Like, she'd collect her, I think she got like a $1,300 government check at the beginning of the month for her SSDI or whatever it was. And that was all she got. Like, and then she was trying to do like tarot readings on TikTok and stuff, but she didn't want to do anything else. It's like, don't you think you could do like something on the side, try to bring in a little bit extra money to supplement that? She's like, no, I can't work. I have too much anxiety. And I'm like, you have anxiety. I was like, you should try to do what me and a lot of my fellow drivers out there we put up with out here. Because what we do out here, hell, even car driving out here, if you're like a Lyft or Uber driver or whatever, just being out here on the roads in general can be a very high anxiety, high stress. Whether you're working or just driving, like even driving across country, you're dealing with bad drivers that cut across 4 lanes of traffic to exit out because they're gonna pass it. And I'm like, you're lucky there were no other cars there, because I see cars do that have ended up causing a massive pileup because they cut across and they take out 1 or 2 cars, and then before they do it, there's a whole pileup of cars and the whole highway is shut down. So, but she was always negative about things, about her life in general, and it's like, so I try to approach things like, hell, I'm even actually thinking about doing a vision board, because I've actually heard a lot of evidence to the fact that those actually work. Like if there's like if there's goals and dreams that you have in mind that you want to accomplish, I've heard that actually, like, not just speaking things into existence, but actually like putting things on a board or whatever, like, I want to accomplish this, I want to achieve this, I want to get this, I've actually held one of the podcasts that I'm currently listening to, that I'm kind of binge listening, called "And That's Why We Drink." Slowly check them out; they're pretty awesome. Just the name of the podcast itself attracted me to the podcast, because I'm like, hey, I can vibe with it. They're not both alcohol drinkers. One of them drinks wine, the other one drinks milkshakes. But one of them did like a vision board. At the very beginning of the podcast, they did a vision board. Like, they were both working jobs, and at the point I'm at now on the show, I think I'm like 200 out of 400 episodes in. They basically crossed off multiple things on the vision board that have actually happened. And they're like, we never thought any of this stuff would happen, but here we are, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, cool, all right. So, speaking about the things that you want, and, just believing that you're going to get, that you're going to achieve that. Hell, I even go as far as to basically one of the things that I read was basically, um, like if there's something, a task or a goal or something that you guys are looking at, or something you want to achieve, something you want to actually, um, that you want to actually get, whether it's a vehicle that you don't know how you'll ever be able to afford, or buy a house, or a certain bank balance, or whatever. Don't look at something that might feel impossible to you. Like you're thinking, I'm never gonna be able to do that. Instead, look at those tasks that you're wanting to accomplish, and tell yourself, I'm gonna figure it out. Anything it is, no matter how insane it might feel, whatever. If it's something you really want in life, you want to a milestone you want to accomplish, that you're like, yeah, I don't know how to pull this off because I don't make that much money I don't know how I'd open this business, or I don't know how I'd buy this house, or pay off all this debt that I'm buried under. Just look at those tasks, whatever it is, those goals, those dreams, and tell yourself, I'm gonna figure it out. And then don't worry about it. Like, don't think about, like, well, how can I figure it out? Like, I don't know. It's okay to research, like maybe try to look online to find out, like, if you can find out more information about what it is that you're trying to do. But not necessarily like trying to like assure yourself that it's possible, but just like, hey, what are you doing? My fellow truckers out there is like, hey, way station is closed, get the bypass. But tell yourself, no matter what it is, I'm gonna figure it out. And then put the positive vibes out there. Just whether it's it's like I attract, and then put out whatever, like I attract health, I attract wealth, I attract infinite abundance. There's one quote that actually on a YouTube video that talked about like speaking positivity into your life, whatever. You must visualize it, you must speak it into existence, and you must believe that you're gonna believe it's on its way to you already. So it's like one of the sayings on one of these YouTube videos, basically, I now draw from the abundance within, and I see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me blessed and multiplied. And then if you spend money, don't look at it as, man, I'm tapped, I spent all my money. You pay a bill, or you have to buy something from the store. Look at that purchase and tell yourself, just speak it out. I pay this with joy, and it returns to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. Just constantly talking positivity about your finances and your situation, and literally attracting that positivity, attracting that abundance, attracting those blessings into your life, because words have power over our lives, guys. I've noticed that the people that I've known throughout my life that have been like real negative about, like, yeah, I can't afford that, I'm always broke, or whatever, they're usually always broke, or they're always struggling, or they're never, because if you say I can't afford that, then basically you're putting that out there in the universe, and you're going to continue being in situations where you're basically going to be like, I can't afford that. So, don't let the stress of the current situation, whatever it is, if you feel tapped because your bank balance is not where you want it to be, but you want it to be like tens of thousands or whatever, tell yourself, I'm going to figure it out. Everything's fine. I pay this with joy, and it's going to return to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. I attract health, wealth, and abundance for my family. I attract financial blessings for my family. If you want, kind of like praying, or even for friends or whatever, you can be like, I attract financial blessings and great health for so-and-so, this friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. And it does a lot for how you are mentally, as far as like how you feel. Because even if you're struggling, having a bad mental health day, for the most part, it won't be about the finances or that stuff. It'll be, you just be struggling, having a mental health day. but you'll be like, but I know that financially things are looking up. I know that things are on, like, blessings are on their way. The bank account is going to change. The, you know, better job is on its way. You know, being debt free is on its way. Owning a house, you know, basically achieving all my dreams is on its way. So it's like we gotta just live our lives even on a day by day basis, and just put that out there and attract all those amazing things to us. Attract all those blessings. Attract all those all that abundance to us. So, on that note, guys, so again, sorry to talk your ear off, but you know how that's what these, you know, like this show basically, big part of it is the real talk. You know, I'm always keeping it real with you guys. Never gonna lie to you. Never gonna bullshit you and stuff. Gonna be up front, literally tell you how I feel, and tell you what things I would recommend we do. And that's as much to help me as it is to help you guys. Like, I'm practicing what I'm preaching too. Like, I'm not just telling you guys stuff and then doing something else. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the story, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. The next round of the Real Talk Tuesday and the Storytime Friday episodes next week. But you guys keep being awesome. Keep believing. Keep doing what you gotta do. Take it day by day, week by week. Don't let the negative thoughts get you down. Send in those stories if you're a creative writer and you want to have me read your story on one of these episodes. blodgetshowpodcast@gmail.com. Send in your donations if you're willing. You know, blodgetshow.com/support. And I will talk to you guys next week. Have a good one.